Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I got this big old leaf in the way. Hold on, y'all. Welcome to Rooted Vines, our first of the month inner alchemy session. And we are talking about today beyond the job. And this topic really pairs well with the month of September because the month of September is Suicide Awareness Week. And then we're talking about beyond the job. And I picked this because there's so many of us that are connected to our job and we don't understand that we are not what we do. This realm seems to put us in a place where you connect more with your job than your purpose. And so we're going to talk about a little bit about setting boundaries so that you don't become what you think you do, but you become who God has created you to be. I believe that jobs can really mask who you are and you forget your purpose and you become driven to do and to be your best at someone else's dreams, somebody else's status and statistics and where they want to go, right? You're driving the ship to where they want to go. And then you forget that you had dreams, you had aspirations, and you had hobbies that you like to do. And we become so infused. And this is another great point. Just like tea, it infuses, the benefits infuses with the water that we use, the heat intensifies it. Same thing with the job. We infuse ourselves with our job and we don't know how to separate. And this becomes a really hard thing to do, especially for those who retire, especially for those who have jobs that are considered the top of the echelon, like your doctors, your nurses, your firemen, your police, your professors, jobs that really have, I don't want to say jobs because those are really careers that really have statuses. These people really have a hard time shifting once they leave. And it really becomes a hard thing if they had to medically retire or they had to leave that career unexpectedly. Who are new to this channel, this session, number one, thank you for joining. And number two, I am Mayaka Anderson, the Herbal Alchemist, and I am the co-founder of Rooted Vines, where we offer herbal teas and these inner alchemy sessions to help create balance in your life by healing the mind, the body, and the spirit. I was looking at a video the other day of, it was like I guess a Russian mob boss. That's what the title said on the video. But he was explaining that this realm that we live in is basically a prison, right? And in this prison, like every prison, you are given a job. You're given a job to do. The only thing here is that outside of a real prison, we get to choose what we're going to do. For the most part, you know, you can go and get your education and you can go and get start a career or start a job, whatever it is, and feel like you are a part of society, right? It gives you a sense of being, of hope, of purpose, this job, this career, which the gentleman was saying it was intended to hope you forget about who you are in your mission here. But what I want us to do today is I want us to look at our life. I want us to look at what we've done, who we've been in each role that we played in the different careers, jobs that we have had, even volunteering avenues. And we're just going to look and see where we are, who we are in these roles, and if we are entangled in this thing, right? Are we becoming that which we do instead of understanding who we are? And who we are, we just bring a little flavor to that which we do. To really set an intention. Number one, why did you decide to look at this video beyond the job? Did something ring true to you? Are you getting ready to retire? Are you someone who is struggling because you had to medically retire? Are you feeling like the job that you have is beneath you? Are you feeling like you exert a little more power because of what you do? And you feel like without it, you don't know really who you are, which I find a lot of people struggle with. So we want to set intentions. What do you want to get out of this video? And what do you want to prepare for so that you don't find yourself in a position where you feel like if you had to move on from your career or your job, that it would affect everything that goes on, that you would go into a depression or a tailspin, right? Or you would feel like you don't know where you fit in anymore. Because one thing about changing careers or jobs, you leave behind your coworkers. And we spend so much time at work that your coworkers, your job becomes your home, your coworkers become your family, and without them, you seem a little lost, right? You're no longer invited to the parties or the soiree. Am I saying that right? Soiree. Anymore, right? For most of us, you don't know what's going on, the ins and the outs and people's lives like you used to. And so you kind of feel a little lonely or alienated for a lot of people because, like I said, you spend more time at work than you do with your own family at home. So you live these two separate lives, this dichotomous is going on within you. And so you can lose yourself even further in that. Are here for us to serve one another on a, I want to say, like a man-made level, right? Because man made the system, these criterias, these levels, these class, these genders, these man has made a lot of things. And so when it comes to a job or career, I want you to understand that you are just a vessel to serve another person or another business or another organization on that playing field, right? It doesn't make you who you are. You are just setting policies and rules and kind of sharing them with others, that we have agreed as a collective, this is how this system is going to work. This is how we are going to do things. And I have agreed this is the role I'm going to play in this system. And jobs often shape how we think about other people, how we think about ourselves, how we move in this realm. It shapes our stress levels. It shapes our beliefs. It's amazing. Jobs are, when you really think about it, jobs are like a religion. You think about a job, you really buy into their doctrines, their dogma, right? They have this policy. They have these rules. You can get blackball in there. It really is like religion, and you go there religiously. Monday through Friday, some people Monday through Monday. You have a set schedule that you have to be there. A lot of people have to wear the uniform. They get you totally indoctrinated like the military. You got to put on the uniform. There's a language you have to use for every job, right? You don't use the same language if you were a mechanic as you would if you were a doctor, right? So you have this whole cultural move, this whole vibe that comes with the job that you kind of slip into, and sometimes without even knowing. As you're talking to people, if someone gets on the topic that you are well versed in because of your job, you feel like, I got this, no, that's not true. This is how this works. This is why this works this way, right? So we become advocates of our jobs, and we defend our jobs and what we do, right? We become part of the fabric of that organization from head to toe. And it's scary because we don't even realize it. That is the power of influence. That is the power of policies. That is the power of dogma and doctrines when it comes to moving in your career path or your job. And you can totally forget yourself, and you can totally forget the truth too when it comes to certain professions. One of the things I did want to share with you is how to prepare yourself to separate yourself, right? From the job. And you should do this at any job or career you get so that you will learn to live a more balanced life. And that's what Rooted Vines is all about, helping you live a more balanced life. Number one, we got to set boundaries. Now, I talk about setting boundaries in your life all the time, but I've never really talked about it when it came to your job. Absolutely. Set boundaries in your job, because one thing that I have noticed that people will give 130%. You ain't even got 130% to give, but you won't find and dig deep in there, right? Because those who work hard, those who want to achieve, those who want to go somewhere will dig in and find that extra 10, 20, 30% to give to who? a job who is just giving you, who has just numbered you and will send you on your way just as fast as you came in. So we have to learn to set boundaries, healthy boundaries for ourselves. And that is to separate your work from your life. A lot of people will come home and still talk about work, be thinking about work, get on the computer, do some research about work. You do not want to bring work life into your home life. This is really hard when it comes to police officers, when it comes to doctors, lawyers, nurses, firemen, because most of those careers, you're always on call. So you're always on edge. You don't know if the phone will ring and you'll have to run out the door, right? So it's really hard, but that's why you have to set boundaries in place. I don't know what it's like to be in a lot of those professions, but I did work in the medical field. My last job was in the emergency department as a emergency technician. So I do understand this, that you do need a separation, because even when I was in that field, I was constantly thinking about work. And if I wasn't thinking about work, I was thinking about my coworkers or what happened the night before. I was thinking about the patients that I helped, or the death that I seen, or the life that, I had to do CPR on. So it was always constantly in my mind, but understanding what I know now, it's not healthy. You must be able to separate. So you want to set some boundaries, whatever that looks like to you. And you might have to think about that too. Find out what does those boundaries look like when it comes to separating. We also want to create a separate workspace, right? And a lot of us now are working from home. You want to make sure that you have a place in your home that's dedicated just for work, right? And then the rest of your home is your home. When you go into that space to work, you work. And then when you leave that space, you're done, right? And we want to create hours that you're in there. And especially working from home, I know, because I do work from home, it's hard to make sure you get those lunch breaks. It's hard to make sure that you get your break, right? You're harder on yourself at home than you are if you were actually at work, right? Because your coworkers, you always got that coworker that's ready to take that lunch, ready to take that break, and ready to schedule, hey, let's meet here for lunch, or so you made sure you got that time. You need to continue to make sure that you have that time when you are at home. And if you are at work, make sure you take your breaks. Make sure you take your lunch. This is so that you can relax your mind, breathe a little bit, unclench your shoulders and your hands, and just kind of give your body just a rest. Communicate with your manager. Set up regular meetings with your manager to discuss any workload challenges that you may have, so that you can free up your mind. When you get home, your mind is yours, right? You don't have to worry about what your boss is thinking, because they're people, right? What they have is just a title, that they were where you were at one point. They are just, don't put them above you, and a lot of them don't even have as much knowledge as you have. So don't feel like you have to be afraid because of a title. They are just a human being. You want to go in there with respect, but you want to make sure that they understand what you're going through and what the job that you do entails. Because a lot of those supervisors don't even know what you do or why you do it. So so you want to make sure that, once a week or once a month, whatever it is, depending on what you do, it's just to have a dialogue and communication. Another thing, make sure you have something that you enjoy outside of work. I don't care if you have to, join a bowling league, you're in a knitting club, find something. They say a lot of people that retire die within the first week or month of retirement because they had nothing to look forward to. How sad is that? Whether it's traveling, learning a new language, hanging out with your grandkids, make sure you have goals and ideas that you want to do after work. And those things will prompt you to, when you retire, you still have a full life and people that you know outside. Because if the coworkers drop off because you retired, you still have a whole nother community over here that you can access. Make sure you know how to spend time alone. Because the first week of transitioning, whether you were laid off of work, whether you're retiring, it is going to be you with your thoughts. Make sure you have positive thoughts. Make sure that you understand that the job that you did, especially if you retired. A lot of people don't even get to do that, right? go back and look at the great things that you've done, the schooling you've had, the positions you've held, the people that you've helped, the people that you got to know and be a part of their life. See that as a blessing. And make sure you talk to yourself. What are we going to do today? What do I want to learn? There's so much to do on Masterclass, YouTube University. They keep your mind busy, to keep your body going. And don't be afraid to step outside and do something new. Anytime you do something new, it's going to be scary. I do something new all the time. Terrified, heart beating, but I'm going to jump out there and do it, right? Because I want to know and see what my potential is beyond what people think and ushers in more opportunity. You want to set a start and an end time for your workday, especially if you're at home. And I just learned how to do this because I was working like 2, 3 in the morning trying to get things going with Rooted Vines, right? But now I get up when my husband gets up around 5. I do my thing with him, and then I want to make sure I start at 8, but I try to finish at 5 and no later than 6. And I'm trying to back it. Like I said, this is new for me, so I'm trying to back it down to 5 o'clock where I'm done. I can shut the book. One of the most effective ways to detach from your job identity, I want to say, is to cultivate the hobbies and the interests outside work. I know I talked about that, but I can't reiterate this. It's so important that you do that. So like I said, whether you start painting, write that book you've been talking about, hiking, spending time with loved ones, joining meetup groups, book clubs, it will help you to reintroduce yourself to who you are, what you like and enjoy, and how to connect better with people, especially those that are working from home. It's really important not just to do viral, online networking, but to actually get out there, shake a hand, smile eye to eye. Human interaction is so important. You can tell that from the young people that's walking around who cannot look you in the eye, don't know how to talk to people, don't know how to introduce themselves properly. We see that there's a big gap. So it's very important that we get out there and we have human interaction. I really want to talk to those people who are getting ready to retire. And, saying goodbye to a career, I had to say goodbye to my career. I thought I was going to be in the emergency department forever. And actually, I was going to school to become a physician's assistant so I could work in the ER for the rest of my life. I thought that was my jam, honey. That was my jam. And I had a horrific back injury. And they told me I just couldn't do patient care anymore. Out of the blue, like boom. This was not planned. This was not something I was gearing up for. I saw my future as being there in the ER for the rest of my life. No matter whose ER it was, I was going to be there, right? And it devastated me. I was not prepared to say goodbye. I was not. And I had to go to grief therapy for my job because and this is why this is important to me doing the subject. I thought I was my job. I didn't know who I was outside of the medical field, outside of the emergency department. I felt like, who am I? And I'm not even important anymore. I don't have any type of status, right? I didn't even get to say goodbye to my coworkers. Many of them didn't even know what happened to me. I was just gone one day. A big part of my life just had a hole in it. And so I know what that feels like. I want you to know that saying goodbye to a career, whether it's unexpected or if it's planned, doesn't always bring happiness, but it brings in opportunities for you to introduce yourself to yourself in a new way. Some people will retire, some people will medically retire, and they will feel anxious and saddened by the loss of the routine. My dad was in the military. He retired and he struggled for a little while finding himself because now there is no routine. Now it's all on you. No one's setting your schedule. You are responsible for you all the way, right? And so he had a hard time, but he found his groove after a while, what he enjoyed. And he always kept going out to different meetups groups. He even started his own men's group. So he had to find his way. And so that is what you have to do, no matter what happens at the loss of a career or a job. Almost 1 in 3 retirees, you guys, are feeling depressed, lonely, and lost. And that rate, as we get into more and more people, more Generation X and baby boomers now retiring at the same time, huge number. We find that suicides also are going up because people are feeling lost. They're feeling lonely. They feel like they're not important anymore. I'm so sorry, I got something in my eye. They feel like they're not important anymore, or they don't add value. And that's such a lie that we have bought into, right? You have so much knowledge that you could start your own consulting firm. Whatever career you did, you have something to offer because someone new is moving into your spot. Whole new generations are coming in that need to be taught what you already know. And what I find is that a lot of organizations and careers are trying to move out the older people. So as the new people come in, they can put in their policies and their procedures a whole bunch of bull, right? And pay them less. So we know better. And so if we teach those coming in, they won't get the wool pulled over their eyes. So your knowledge is important. Your expertise is needed in the field that you were in. So don't ever feel unworthy. But you are going to have to do some work within. Another thing about jobs, make sure when you leave a job or career, or if you're in it, make sure that job, that organization does not impede on your values and your morals. You stand strong in what you believe. They have mottos that they, in their lingo or whatever, but make sure you stand firm on who you are, what you believe, what you will and will not do. Do not jeopardize who you are just because you have a certain career, because that is exactly what they want you to do. They want your soul. Don't sell your soul out for a measly $100,000 a year or whatever it is. Create your own lane if you have to. And I'm not saying this because it's hard to create your own lane. There's a lot of moving bits. People get on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and they give you this guru knowledge. And the knowledge is great. The information is great. The application is not as easy. And it can mess with your life. And I don't want you out in the street because you assume that these things that they teach you is going to work instantaneously. Sometimes it does, but a lot of times it doesn't. It takes time. It takes work. But I would say start putting things in place now so that most of the work is done when it's time for you to make your exit. And even if it's unexpected, you've done enough groundwork that you can go ahead and pivot to something else that's going to serve you better. So we want to make sure that we live authentic lives, that when we're going to work, we have authentic lives. And when we leave that job or that career, we leave as a whole person, understanding who we are, intact as a whole with our morals and values, and understand that that job was just that job or that career. I just wanted to let you guys know that you are not what you do. There is a light and a purpose that was given to you before you even came into this realm. One thing, when you come into this realm, they give you a name, they give you a religion, right? They give you rules, they give you regulations, they give you policies, they give you procedures that you must follow. But none of that can outshine your purpose and your assignment. Connect with yourself. Find out who you truly are and what your purpose is. And I know that you know your purpose. And a lot of people say, I don't know my purpose. I don't know. Sit still. Be quiet. Right? Journal. Find out what makes you happy. Find out what lights you up when you start talking about something. Right? See yourself in the future. What does that look like? Sometimes we just have to probe ourselves within because the lies and the deceit have been so strong that we can't see any further than where we are. And I don't want that to be you. And for those in the military, I know it's really hard because they break you. They break you all the way down, right? And so getting out into this civilian world, I always say it's like the Wild Wild West, right? There ain't real. I mean, the rules are really guidelines. People gonna do what they gonna do, especially at work, and things are truly unfair, and you can't always fall back on procedures and policies, and they'll let you go at the drop of a hat with no type of reason. You must be able to connect yourself with other things. And if you want to still be a part of the military community, you have the AMVETs that are fantastic. I worked with them for a little bit. You have the VA that you can volunteer. They have classes there so that you can stay, still have the camaraderie with other veterans out there, right? There is so much you can do out there with the military, and they have so many communities and organizations. Do not feel like you are alienated. Do not alienate yourself. You have to do some work in this. You can't just think things are just gonna come by and you're just gonna kumbaya when you retire. Have a plan. Know who you are. Know what you want to do, and understand that you are just as worthy with that job, and you are even more worthy without that job, right? Because now you have the freedom to think, to move, to feel the way that you want to without anyone dictating your choices anymore. What a great way to be. And as always, before I end, let me throw this worksheet in. Y'all know I be getting worksheets for y'all because I want you to improve your life. I want you to know that you're not out here alone, that we're all going through the same things, maybe more intense, less intense, who knows, but we've all been there, done that, or about to. Right? So don't feel alone in this. And especially with Suicide Prevention Week, a lot of people will take their lives when they retire. Because they feel like they are worthless. So I want to let you know that if you are feeling that way, or you're feeling like you want to hurt yourself, or if you just need someone to talk to and you feel like it's a crisis right now in your life, call 988. There is someone there 24/7 just to talk to you, just to guide you, just to let you know that you are loved and your light in this realm matters. And this world wouldn't be the same without you, right? So I want you to know that. Make sure you click on the link right here so that you can get your worksheets. Work through the worksheets. Find out who you are. This is just a guide to get you kind of maneuvering in that arena. I want to thank you so much for joining me. It really means a lot as I get used to doing these classes. I hope they get better and better. Next week, we're doing a presentation about blood pressure. I'm doing this because my mom's age, the elders, those with wisdom, don't really understand how blood pressure works. And when you're going into the hospital, they're using the medical jargon, right? That cultural environment. And a lot of people really don't understand what the hell are you talking about? Right? Hypertension, BP, blood pressure. What is all that? What are these numbers? What does it do? Why does it matter? So we're going to dive into that. As always, family, I pray that whatever you seek, whatever you desire in this realm, it is seeking and desiring you, honey. Until next time, family. Bye.